working through all the free video tutorials on the Husqvarna Viking Brilliance 75Q. And this time we're going to take a quick little peek at a foot that a lot of people just don't know what to use it for. And that is the one that is completely white. This came with your machine. It is labeled H, and on the underneath side, it has this slippery lower edge. Kind of, I know I'm not supposed to say Teflon, but it's slippery. So when you are working on fabrics that are vinyl or sticky or plasticky, leather is another one, that your metal foot is just going to go ahead and stick to it. It's going to come to a complete stop. And a lot of times people will tell you, oh, just put some tissue paper down, and now you're stitching through tissue paper. Now you got to remove the tissue paper, where all you need to do is reach into your box and pull out your standard presser foot that has been coded for you. Now here is one more thing. I want to relate this to the Husqvarna Viking exclusive sewing advisor. So if you haven't played with this, we do have a complete video on the sewing advisor. We have fabrics that we can tell the machine we're working on, and then we can tell the machine, oh, I actually touched the one I wanted. Down here at the G is going to be leather. And did you see that the foot actually changed instantly? It also will make like settings for certain stitches longer, because it knows you don't want stitches too close together on a leather or a vinyl, because that means it's going to perforate it. But this second row, stitches or techniques 1 through 7, is going to be what you want it to do. So if I want to sew a seam and I want to sew it on the leather, fabric G. Now, I do kind of look here. It kind of looks like roadkill. Okay, so that's how I remember that that's the leather setting. But that does pull up the correct foot, and it also makes the stitch length longer. It is recommending a stretch needle size 90, but leather, if it's actual leather, there are leather needles for you as well. As you pick a different stitch, like an overcast stitch, you're going to see more traditional stitches. How about an overcast and seam? Stitches that are more open and not so dense. Basting, that's going to be the same. Blind hem, I kind of got a beep like, this is not recommended. Notice it did not come up. Obviously, we don't do blind hems on leather items. That doesn't make sense at all. A hem is just going to come out as a straight stitch, and a buttonhole will be, isn't this interesting? It is actually the straight stitch buttonhole, all with the H foot. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do, like let's just say we're doing some stitching on this today. I am going to turn off the machine and turn it back on, and I want to show you what happens. Whatever fabric you last were using or had selected is what comes up when you turn your machine on the next time. And here, I often will find my students arriving in class with the foot H, which is the white foot, so just showing on their screen and not knowing why that's the foot. Well, it's because the fabric G was selected. So just a little note, when you are not sure which fabric you really want to be using or should be selecting, I want you to select fabric B, and that would be the woven medium. That's going to put your settings and your stitch lengths all at a kind of a middle length, a middle size, and then that way you're not kind of confused of why it's showing you different settings for different stitches. So woven medium, when you turn the machine off, that helps you kind of stay kind of neutral, and then you can always deviate and pick the fabric that you're working on. But use this because not only does it change the settings, it also changes the pressure. So for fun, let's go into, we're going to pick leather. And let's pick a seam, and I am going to navigate to our settings where we can actually see what the pressure is. So yes, it has reduced it for us. Pressure, foot pressure. is 4.5. Traditionally, this sits around 6.0 on normal fabrics. When it's stretchy fabrics, it reduces it down to 3.0, so half the pressure. So that way, like the stretchy stuff doesn't like come out wavy. It will come out more flat because the foot isn't, it's more hovering. So I do like that by using this setting, it's also changing the pressure. And that's another reason why you want to make sure that if you don't know what fabric you're on, that you leave it at that B setting, because B, or woven medium, is going to be a normal pressure. So just leave that. This is a little tidbit. But when you have fabrics that are sticky or sticking to your foot, this came with your machine. Put it on and you are good to go. I hope you'll check out all of our free video tutorials on the Husqvarna Viking Brilliance 75Q, and there are links below in the description where you can start back at the beginning and watch all of them in order. Don't forget to click like on every video that you watch so our channel continues to bring you information going forward. Happy sewing, everyone!